So, what is social housing? It's a vital part of the UK housing system that delivers affordable, secure homes for a wide range of people, including people on lower incomes or in vulnerable situations. I'm Chris Yao, and I know a little bit about this. I feel as though I'm a product of social housing and I now work as the Director of Housing at Lloyds Banking Group. If you stay with me for the next few minutes, I'll explain exactly what social housing is in all its forms, and it'll become clear why we're working so hard to support housing associations, developers and partners to make safe, secure housing a reality for more people across the UK. Building homes, building futures, building hope. The challenge ahead of us is stark. There simply isn't enough social housing to meet the needs of our communities. Right now, over 1.5 million households are on housing waiting lists. That's the equivalent of all the people that live in Liverpool, Bristol and Cardiff combined. For many, they'll be waiting months or even years in temporary accommodation, such as emergency housing, in hostels or B&Bs. These conditions can affect health, children's education and place a huge cost on the economy. At the same time, construction of new affordable housing has fallen sharply. The cost of inaction keeps rising. For me, this is personal. When my dad and my granddad came to the UK, they managed to secure council housing. That gave them the chance to save and eventually open up the first Chinese takeaway. It's that access to safe, secure housing and the support of the local community is what enabled my family to thrive. That's why I sought a career of a purpose and why I strongly believe in the importance of social housing today. Positive steps being taken, like the launch of the National Housing Bank, but we need to go further and faster to make sure families don't have to rely on temporary accommodation as their only option. When we talk about social housing, people often have more questions. What's the difference between social and council housing? What is a housing association? What's affordable housing? What about social housing retrofit? What does that mean? Let's share some answers. First up, what is a housing association? Housing associations are non-profit organisations that manage social, affordable and other types of housing. Affordable housing is a broad term. It covers three main areas. The first is social rent. Rents that are typically around 50 to 60% of market levels, giving families stability and security. Next is affordable rent, usually set at up to 80% of market levels, still lower than private market, but less heavily subsidised than social rent. And finally, there's affordable ownership. Options like shared ownership, where you buy part of your home and pay rent on the rest, or rent-to-buy schemes that let you pay a discounted rent while you save up for a deposit. For millions of people, the gap between rent and wages keeps growing, and in some parts of the country, house prices are far out of reach. Affordable housing provides a secure, stable home, whether that's through lower rents or routes into ownership. It's about giving people, wherever they live, the chance to build their lives on solid foundations. Finally, we've got council housing. This is what my family had when they first arrived here, built and owned by local authorities. Today, many councils still own homes. Often they work with others to maintain or upgrade them and support residents. This is my grandfather's council house, which used to provide stability for his family and eventually allowed him to open up his own business. You may have also heard people talk about the retrofit of social housing, but what does that actually mean? Most simply, it's about upgrading the homes we already have so that they're warmer, more energy efficient and cheaper to run. Many social homes were built decades ago, and while they've provided secure housing for generations, they now need modern upgrades. Retrofit can be better insulation, new windows, heat pumps or solar panels. Changes that cut energy bills, reduce carbon emissions and improve health and comfort for residents. This is all about making sure families can afford to heat their homes and children have a safe, warm place to grow up. So, that's a lot of detail in less than 5 minutes. Before I head off, I'm going to quickly return to the big picture. Social housing transforms lives and builds stronger, fairer communities. At Lloyds Banking Group, we've been championing social housing for decades, holding relationships with housing associations from Osprey in the northeast of Scotland to Vivid based in Portsmouth. We know no single organisation can solve this challenge. That's why we're working in partnership with housing associations and developers, investors and government. We're backing major projects through new joint ventures and supporting housing associations through commercial lending and deal facilitation. We're also unlocking small sites that can turn into viable housing schemes. And we're lending to help finance the retrofit of social housing homes, making them warmer, greener and more affordable to run. Social housing changes lives. It provides safety, dignity and opportunity. That's why we've partnered with Crisis since 2023 to campaign for 1 million more social homes over the next decade. But it's not just about building new homes. It's about upgrading the ones we already have so that every family has a safe, secure and sustainable place to call home. Watch our other videos to find out more and join the conversation in the comments.